Good morning, everybody. And let's get a little bit more light. There we go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with the Soul. As hopefully you know, I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body-mind expert, a shiatsu massage therapist, and an intuitive, mastermind, genius, passion, lover of this stuff. And so today we talk every morning, Monday through Friday at about 8:15. Good morning, Ro, Central Standard Time. And I'm hoping that the weather's okay today. It's going to be kind of messy out here in Northern Illinois. Good morning, Margie. Nice to see you. And so today we're going to be talking about the next step in intuition. Hi, Emma. So the title of today's topic is Intuition So You Think You Know Everything. Now, let me start with a little bit of, background story experience. So, when I first started getting into the energy, part of the work that I do. Hi, Jackie. Good to see you. When I started to get into that, and I would take workshops and things along those lines. Hi, Kathy. I'd take workshops and I would, go to all these great mystical, magical sorts of experiences. And the one thing they would always say is, you need to trust your intuition. You need to trust your intuition. Well, if you know anything about me now, you know that I had a lot of wires crossed. I would trigger, over everything. And I couldn't trust my intuition because it led me in so many different bad places. Because my experiences, hi, Barbara. My experiences had wired me in a way that I had a lot of negativity. And so, there was a real conflict. I'd have all of these gurus and I'd have all of these, people who were high up saying, you just need to trust your intuition. And if you trust your intuition, you're going to be great. I'm glad you made it today too, Barbara. If you just trust your intuition, you're going to do a great job and it'll be fine. Well, that tended to block me, to give me a big stumbling block, because it seemed like everybody else was confident with their intuition, but I wasn't. So I'd sit back and I watched and I'd observe. And then I started to realize that other people who were super confident of what they knew to be true, of what their intuition was, many times were wrong. Possibly when it came to me or when it came to other people. And that started to open up the door for curiosity for me. One of the things I remember being said to me once is, because I had a lot of crossed wires, one of the side effects of going through challenges in your life or challenges when you're young is that you have a lot of things going on in your head and a lot of things going on in your body. And so one part of you may be saying, well, this is true. And another part of you may be saying, well, that over there is true. And people who were so confident in their intuition, they would listen to their intuition and it would give them a felt sense, and that would be the answer. And so many times people thought that I wasn't telling the truth, or that I was evading them in some way, because what they felt, the energy they felt coming off of me, didn't match with the words that I was saying, or didn't match with my actions. And so intuitively, they couldn't trust me. They thought there was something wrong with me because I felt wrong. And this guiding light that they used through their life, is what they believed in. But the thing that was really going on with me, and with a lot of people, with most of us who are into energy work, because we've had a lot of challenging experiences in our life that's given us a lot of mixed messages, is that what we feel is different from what we think. And what we think can be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different things, if not more. And what we feel can be 4 or 5 or 6 different things, if not more. We're a hot mess of conflict, of questioning, of things which don't match up. Hi, Sherry, nice to see you. So, we look at ourselves, and there are people who've had, let's say, a limited amount of experiences, and they trust their intuition indubitably because they haven't been around the world, let's say. They haven't had so many experiences in life that they realize that things are very complex and complicated rather than the simple black and white answer. And then there's kind of the middle ground that we go through of all of that conflict and questioning and worry and not trusting, what we feel or what we think. And that's where a lot of us are. And then on the other side of that is when you've had enough life experiences that you've been present to, you start to really trust your intuition, because now you know that you don't know everything. Now you know that you need to question things that you feel and dig a little bit deeper and find out more facts, not just react and go with it. You need to validate or confirm. You need to stay open, and you need to trust that other people have points of view, ideas, or experiences that you might not be aware of. When you get to that point where you don't doubt yourself, but you realize that it's a very big, complex world, then your intuition gets so much better. So if you want to be on a good path of where your intuition becomes super accurate, you can trust yourself more, you can trust what you feel, here's a really good next step. Let yourself have a wide variety of experiences. Let yourself play with things. One of the benefits of me being in theater and music and things along those lines, singing different songs and putting myself in different points of view and characters, was I got to explore what it's like to be the villain and to be the rescuer, to be, the strong, smart, capable, functional woman and the helpless, life is falling to pieces sort of person. And the more I played with those different personalities and different character roles, the more I did that, the more I realized that they really were me. I really did know what that was like. So on the one hand, you don't have to go out and become, a master thief in order to know what it's like to steal things. But you probably have stolen things in your life, or other people thought that you did, or you felt like you were, even though you weren't. You've probably still had that experience. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. You've probably still had that experience that you can tap into and look to see what that felt like. Not just projected or imagined what it would be like, or denied the fact that you had it of, I would never do that, I would never be that person. It's about finding what's within you that you've already had, that you can kind of match it up with and say, yes, I know exactly what it's like to do that sort of thing. So maybe you don't know what it's like for someone to, let's say, have something as horrific happen as lose a child. Maybe you'll never, ever, ever know what that feels like. But you can still tap into knowing what it's like to hurt and to grieve and to feel crazy and vulnerable and desperate and heartbroken and destroyed. And you can still know what that feels like. And that's what you can have intuition about, without having to know what it means, without having to put an interpretation on it. Because the best intuition is when we don't put an interpretation on what we feel. We sense it, we feel it, and then we check it out with a couple other sources. We check it out with our, with our experiences in life. We check it out with the person that we're with. We get it confirmed or validated. That's the best intuition. So I'll give a really good example. I saw a letter today, an open letter from Mira Sorvino to Dylan Farrow. And if you're not familiar with the story, Dylan Farrow had accused Woody Allen of molesting her, of assaulting her. And nobody, or not nobody, but a lot of people didn't believe Dylan Farrow because, Woody Allen had so much power and he was very convincing and had a lot of stuff on his side. Well, Mira Sorvino's been involved with this whole Harvey Weinstein stuff and had felt assaulted by him and had now finally had this experience of, support, thousands of people supporting and thousands of people calling her names and victim blaming and being in the middle of being this person. And from that experience, she realized that she could now believe Dylan Farrow and what Dylan Farrow had said all of those years. She now started to go back and do some research and look at the stories differently and look at the facts which had come out and look at it with a more objective, bigger eye and come up with a different intuitive sense. Because now she had a different set of experiences in life. She knew what it was like, and she could recognize the tells. You know, for someone who's been through a really difficult experience, they have the ability to spot other people who've been through the same difficult experience. And one of the beautiful things of it is if you've been through it, you tend to be much less judgmental of it. You tend to be a lot safer and a lot more open. If you've been the one that's been the abused and the abuser, you know, when you've been the bully and when you've been the hero, when you've been all of those different people and personalities and characters, you're much safer to be around, and your intuition will be much more on track and on target than if you hadn't been through those. So that's one of the things that makes me a really great healer, is because I'm always not only seeking out in the real world life experiences of a wide variety, not just of holier than thou, but also, yeah, I know what it's like to be humbled. I know what it's like to make mistakes and have people think that I've hurt them or say something I didn't mean to say. Because whether you've actually owned the fact that you've been a bully to somebody. Even if you weren't aware of it or that wasn't your intention, someone interpreted it that way because of their own pain or their own issues. And you still had that experience. So one of the ways you can have these experiences is go back through your timeline. Go back through your life. 12-step program has a really interesting step in it, which is where you go back and you make amends. You go back to all the stories in your life where you felt you had done something wrong, and you open up the dialogue, because now you're in a better place to have this dialogue, a different point of view. You open up the dialogue and you listen to what the other person's point of view was of what was going on in your story. And so your story becomes, you know, from this is their fault, I can't believe they did this, I can't believe this happened to me, to a much bigger theme. You're able to take it to the end of the road, let's say. See how the story actually turned out after Cinderella found her prince. You know, one of my favorite movies is Into the Woods. And it takes all of these fairy tales and it takes them past the fairy tale part where everything turns out great. And it looks deeper into the reality. So one of my first and favorite intuitives in the world was a fictional character by Agatha Christie, and her name was Miss Marple. And Miss Marple lived in a tiny little town, and she solved murders and mysteries all over the place. And the reason she was able to is because she was very present to the people who lived in the town. She didn't have judgmentalism about it. She didn't have a lot of strong triggers or reactions. Instead, she watched people and she observed people, and she saw patterns, and she saw how things actually turned out. And she ended up with a much broader umbrella of what life looked like. And so she could see patterns in new situations. She could use her intuition very accurately because she didn't come in with an emotional a strong emotional trigger or felt sense. So what if you have never had the experience of, you know, traveling to Italy, and but you want to know what it's like to, you know, engage with people from Italy? Hi, Alicia, nice to see you. And I'm just using that as an example. One of the beautiful things about good writing, good movies, good writing, good things along those lines, is they bring you into the story and into the reality of the characters. And if they're well written, then you get to see all the different conflicts and ideas and thoughts and beliefs and what they're struggling with. And you really get a good idea of what it's like to be that person. That's another wonderful way to gather experiences without necessarily going out and destroying your life, you know, or going to prison or stealing a car. You know, you can do your research. You can explore these things. You can do a deep dive, you know, as to what it's like and what things feel like and the experiences that you'll have. And the mind doesn't know the difference between something that you imagine and something you actually experience. And so one of the challenges with children especially is that when they're exposed to different literature or different media, their body still reacts and still triggers and can be traumatized. They can be traumatized by things that they see or watch because their mind doesn't know the difference between what they're imagining and what's really happening. Which is great on one hand because it opens a door to possibilities that adults shut down. You know, as adults, we know what we know what we think, we know what we believe, and that's it. And it shuts the door to a lot of great intuitive miracles that are everywhere. When we open that door back up and we address our past and we address our present and we address our future with a curious and open mind. Hi, Kristen. With a curious and open mind, then we can gather the experiences that we need, those different points of view that make you an awesome intuitive, that take you from the confidence because you really don't know any better, through the questioning and the doubt and the worry, to the other side of, I know that I don't know everything, but this is what I feel, and let's see where it fits in. And let's then confirm or validate what's going on. It's a very clear process. So if you think you know everything, you probably don't. And if you think you don't know anything, you know a whole heck of a lot more than you realize you do because you already have awesome intuition. And it's about growing it and expanding your sphere of influence. So that's it for today. I'm going to actually be doing an intuitive masterclass. I'm going to be launching it in a few weeks. I've been working on pulling it together. It's going to be able to take women who question their intuition, either because they're energy healers or social workers or healers in other realms or just want better intuition. It's going to be taking them through a very specific set of steps with the support and the motivation and the triggers and the keys. Hi, Carolyn. That will actually take you from, I don't know what I'm doing here, to, yeah, I know exactly what's going on and I'm really good with this. Plus a process that you can use for the rest of your life to keep honing in on your intuition and getting better and better at making decisions in all areas of your life. So I'm excited about launching this coaching program in a couple weeks, so keep your eyes open for it. And if you love this, like, share, comment, and I will see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the last step in intuition, which is where what you believe, what you choose to believe, what reality you framework or paradigm you have will create the life that you want. You get to take your life from, boy, this really is kind of icky, to shaping it to be exactly what you want and learning the tools and the strategies and the ways to shape the life that you want. Tony Robbins is, oddly enough, one of my favorite personal growth speakers anymore. And he took his life from, being abused as a kid to one of the greatest personal growth, people around, plus an excellent business person. So, but he talks about how he purposely shaped his life by believing that something better existed, by working on his beliefs, working through his triggers, and getting to where he wanted to be. And then when you believe it, it becomes true because you start working on it hard enough that it creates those opportunities for you. So that's what we'll talk about tomorrow, how to shape your reality and how to shape your intuition and how to use your intuition to shape your reality. So have a great rest of your day. Stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, especially if you're in Northern Illinois. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.